Okay, this should be on page 19 of your notebook. It's optional on what you want to copy down. Today's the 21st of October. A bunch of band students were missing, so we're going to go over today's notes that we did in class. Again, you don't have to copy them into your notebook. It's really a review of other concepts that we've done in this chapter with percents that are less than 1% and over 100%. Here's our first example. You'll see something similar to it on your worksheet. If I earned a 2.5% raise last year, I now earn what percent of last year's salary? Well, we'll see that I earned 100% of my last year's salary plus 2.5% more. So that gives me 102.5%. The 100 represents what I had last year, and I'm going above that 2.5%. So we can have percents over 100. Next one, we're going to be working with changing between fractions, decimals, and percents. So this is a percent less than 1. So 1% would mean 1 for every 100. This means 25 hundredths for every 100. That's going to be a small number. It's less than 1 for 100. It's 25 hundredths for 100. So how I would probably do it is get a calculator and type in the top number and divide it by the bottom number. That would get me the answer in one step. But another option is to write an equivalent fraction. I can't have a decimal in the top, so whatever I do to the top, I need to do to the bottom. So to get rid of that decimal in the top, I would times by 100. And then I have to do the same thing in the bottom. That would also get me the number 25 10,000ths. Both of these are the same, just an alternative strategy. I would probably do it this way. Seems faster and easier to me. These are done exactly like last chapter. It's just that your answers are going to be small and large. Let me move that up a little bit. Find less than 1% of 1,000. So this is 8/10ths of a percent. 8/10ths out of 100. Percents are out of 100. So whatever I do to the bottom, I need to do to the top. That would give me 8. This is the equation method. This is my percent. I need to change it to a decimal to use the equation method. So I need to move the decimal over 2 times when I divide by 100. This is equivalent to this. This is decimal form. This is percent form. These are the same number. 8 thousandths times 1,000 gives us 8. Whichever method's better for you. Okay, this is very similar. This is our last example. So I'm looking for what percent is 4 out of 60,000. 4 out of 60,000 is not a whole lot of people. If I think of 4 people in Brentwood won $1,000 or more in the lotto last year, that's not a whole lot. Percents are out of 100, where this is only 4 people out of 60,000. So it's going to be a small number. Using this method, I use cross products. That gets me 400. That gets me 60,000. And then I divide by the number next to the x. This gives me 6 thousandths repeating percent. This method here, I just take the part and divide it by the whole, and it gives me this number. But that is a decimal. The equation method is a little bit harder. We have to know how to move the decimal point. And to change it from a decimal into a percent, I times it by 100, which gives me that same answer. I think this way is a little bit safer. This way you have to really be clear in your understanding of which way the decimal point goes. Percents are out of 100, so they're 100 times larger. Okay. Remember that you can pause the video at any time when you're watching these and go back and rewind it. That's the advantage of these. I hope you guys had a good day in band and still get your homework done.